Alrighty, well, good morning, everybody. It is Tuesday, June 11th, 2024. We have the FOMC meeting starting today, so wouldn't be surprising if it's a little bit choppy here until in anticipation of the meeting's release tomorrow. With that being said, let's go ahead and jump back to yesterday and take a look at what happened here. If you were in the pre-market, remember that we basically had a battle zone scenario where there were arguments for the bulls and the bears, and we needed to really get outside of Friday's price range, right? The high of Friday and the low of Friday was kind of, like I said, a battle in between those two prices. And basically all yesterday, they just traded inside of that range. So they were never able to appreciably break out one way or the other. And it looks like coming out of the open here, the bulls were mostly in power all day, right? So the market opened. There was actually a pretty good short opportunity there right out of the open. Not an uncommon thing to happen. Right out of the open, they tagged the holy orange power level, and you could have tried to get in short, considering that price was pulling back all through the overnight session, and actually this line should come over just a little bit further there, but we did have, and we might have to bring it out to the 9th at 4 p.m. or the 10th at 5 a.m. Yep. So we had our swing there at 53.39, and they found the support in the pre-market pretty much overnight. And then as we came into the open, you can see that it was stepping down, right? We held 50% of the previous day in the overnight. We held the previous daily close, and now we were coming into the open, and we were holding actually in the pre-market a couple seconds before the open, the previous, the support and resistance and the whole bull, right? So another stair step down the levels coming into the open. Great opportunity to get short. Now, it didn't quite go very far. You might have gotten a nice 5-6 point scalp out of it, and then the whole phase changed, right? And from there, once this happened, should have been kind of a clear clue that maybe the bulls were going to reverse this thing. Now, I'm not saying that you should have just blindly bought, but once we got through that high, it was then kind of a break in character, right? So finally, they break the previous swing high, and then from there, it was a pretty sweet little push into the close. Now, if you look at what happened here, we've seen beautiful stair steps down our levels, right? We held the high on Monday, the high of Monday or Friday of last week was our roadmap level nearly to the tick. I think it was 2 ticks off. And then as we came into this week, let's bring these levels over. They stepped right down 50% of the previous day. Now I think we got to pull this over, right down the previous daily close, and then right down off the holy orange power level. And then on the other side, they came up and they started stepping, and really they stepped off of the major swing at 39. Then they stepped off of the holy orange power level to the upside, and then they got up through the previous daily close and stepped right off that one. And then finally 50% of the previous day, which was holding the market down coming into the Globex session, then became the support. I think it bounced 1 tick in front of that level. And so all day, or at least all morning, it was a stair step, quite literally right up each roadmap level. And then at the end of the day, a little bit more choppy, but did slowly trend higher there at the end of the day. And the pullbacks to the 200 in this case did not work out. You probably got stopped out here. If you try to pull back to the 200, you probably got stopped out there, right? There was one test that you had to grab basically right as the bulls were starting to break out back up through VWAP, and that was that first tag to the tick. And then from there, like I said, you probably would have gotten stopped out on these 2 tests, and maybe even on this third one, right? So it's not going to work every single time we're in a nice market and they just pull back to it. It's not going to work every time. So this is just, again, to be fully open with everybody. It's not like every time we're in a trend and the market pulls back to the 200, it's just going to work like magic every single time. It did work to the tick on the first test, and then not so much the rest of the day. Now there were some other tags. If you tried it right in there, if you tried it right in here, if you tried it right around this area, you did get a little bit of some follow through on those tags, but not necessarily as sexy as some of the other plays off of that level. But still a beautiful stair step up the roadmap levels. There were plenty of beautiful opportunities to buy those pullbacks to the roadmap level. And then, like I said, out of the open, if you wanted to play in the direction of the trend and try that next stair step, you could have grabbed it with zero risk and got yourself a 5, 6, 7 point pullback. So that brings us here into the overnight session. And let's pull this back. Just I want to see where these levels landed up. So coming into the Globex session here, a little bit messy, right? This, remember, Hopel isn't there until 6 a.m. Eastern. So out of the open for Globex here, they held the back end of the VWAP. They held the back end of the VWAP, but then it just kind of got choppy in here. And as you can see, the bulls just could not really hold price above where price closed the day before. And now here we are in a little bit of a small correction, having trouble. What do you know? Right around 50% of yesterday. Now the range of yesterday, like I said, we are now trading inside of the range of yesterday, and the range of yesterday is trading inside of Friday's range, right? So we're starting to kind of flag out, or whatever you would call it, maybe like a pennant, and we're getting tighter and tighter here as we get to the FOMC meeting here this morning. So let's go ahead and jump up to the higher time frames and see what they have to add to the picture.